Welcome, everyone. My name is Becca Briley, Sweeha Success Coach, coming to you today on Wellness Wednesday for an exciting live feature. Connecting with prospective students, and graduates to just keep it real, talk about the realities of being a holistic entrepreneur. For a lot of you, you're solopreneurs, kudos, and really what it takes to succeed, no matter what your path looks like. Success is different for everyone. So I have someone I call a king of coaching, Mr. James Patrick. How are you today?
Fantastic. It's a good day. It's always a good day.
It's a good day. I see you in your office with all of your certificates on the wall. And for those who don't know James, he started in the healing arts about 13 years ago. Was that getting your feet wet at Sweeha, James, specifically?
Yeah, because I graduated back in 2008 and launched my practice in 2009, primarily focused on coaching. That was the main modality at that particular time. You know, I had other things like hypnotherapy, and at the time with the spiritual studies program that we had. So those were kind of the top three, but coaching was my passion. That's where it started.
And then yes, it started there, and look at you now, flying high. Now, for those of you who don't know, most of you probably do, James is one of our master life coaches, instructors at Sweeha, has been for 12 years now. And from, coaching in his own private practice, he also coaches and holds space for current students and graduates to help them succeed on their path, whatever that looks like. So I asked the king of coaching what he felt was essential for you all to hear today. Maybe even he can ask a couple of coaching questions with where you're at in your path. But James, what do you think, and what do you know from experience is important for success, especially for holistic entrepreneurs?
I think in the world of entrepreneurship, and just in general, not even just holistic entrepreneurs, it's not trying to do everything at once, because I know that our graduates here tend to leave their programs with a lot of awareness, a lot of tools, various modalities, and yet there's this desire or this feeling that we have to put it all out there in the beginning, which can be very overwhelming because part of it is this fear of not knowing what's going to work and what's not going to work. So we throw it all out there. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. And at the same time, people have, other jobs, they have kids, they have other responsibilities and obligations. So the failure to launch aspect that exists a lot of times is because they're trying to do too much at once and still trying to balance their lives at the same time. So it becomes overwhelming, and then they just never succeed. So a lot of times what I do in the business classes is we create the plan, we create the vision, we bring all these ideas together, and then it's being realistic with, okay, where am I at in my life right now? Even after I graduate, with the time, the money, the resources, the support, what is realistic for me to be able to launch and practice at this particular point? And it doesn't mean the whole plan goes away, but all we're asking for is take one thing, take one tool, one modality, one workshop, one idea that is in that plan. What would you do right now? What could you put out into the world immediately and begin making training related income? Start working with clients and generating your brand and your reputation, because really it's about awareness in the beginning. It's not necessarily so much about what tool you're using. In the beginning, it's more about, hey, I exist. I'm a professional in this industry and I have a message to share. And that's what you're building first. You're building a reputation, you're building relationships, you're bringing awareness to your brand and your business. And then the rest just kind of naturally falls into place. So the theme that we talked about earlier, and what I believe to be kind of at the foundation of all success, is the time investment, the consistency and conditioning of our behaviors and our mindset and our processes in order to be successful without overwhelming ourselves in the process, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And I will say, one of the things that I highly appreciated coming into Sweeha, and it can be a harsh dose of medicine if we don't have that self-awareness, right? Of who we are, which is why coaching is so key. And so I'm so glad it's one of the foundational classes at Sweeha, because we need to be asked those right questions, and we need to be able to answer honestly and have the self-awareness, so we know our own faults, we know our own behaviors, we know our patterns, we know our tendencies. So I like, James, that you said awareness first, right? Because without that, we're just kidding ourselves, right? It's like we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. But so time investment wise, you're saying with self-awareness, you need to know how to apply your time for management, right?
Because that's the thing. I don't use time management as a term, because you can't manage. It's going to happen with. So we always use the term time investment. Be a matter of, once you've become aware of the things that you want, what you want your business to be, what you want your focus to be, we need to be able to be mindful of, okay, how am I going to invest my time today? Where am I going to my time, especially in the beginning, because you're kind of a one man, one woman show, that you are not only the professional, the practitioner, but you're also your own marketing team, right? You are your own kind of organizer, creator, developer. Like, you're responsible for all the things that make this machine work. And we have to make time for it. So aside from your family, your kids, your job, you need to schedule time for yourself to say, okay, these are the days and times that I'm going to work with clients. These are the days and times that I'm going to go out to networking groups. These are the days and times that I'm going to go on social media and put my posts out into the world to market my message. You know, you got to kind of break things to make it realistic, because you're not going to do all this at the same time. So you got to kind of schedule time for yourself. I say this a lot of times. You have to schedule time for yourself exactly as you would schedule time for a client, and you treat it exactly the same way. So, and for a lot of people, usually about 60 to 90 minutes is the kind of the sweet spot as far as what a realistic time frame is to dedicate to either client session, creation, marketing, networking. It's doable. So without interfering too much with the rest of your day or the rest of your week. So it's just being mindful of, okay, what are the things that during my week are my non-negotiables? So these are the, like, okay, I know that I've got to be at my job from this time to this time. I know I'm in school from this time to this time. I know the kids have these specific activities on these days at these times. You plug them into your calendar just because that doesn't move. Like, it's a non-negotiable. So then you take and you look at your week or you look at your month, and you can clearly see the gaps in your schedule to know, okay, where can I fit in time for my business and all the elements that are required to make it grow. So you can plug in little bits and pieces and sprinkle it throughout your week and your month, and know that you're going to treat that time like you would a client. You're not going to not show up for them. So you're going to show up for yourself and treat it exactly the same way, so that you're less likely to kind of distract yourself with other things serve your higher purpose. You're more likely to dedicate that time to yourself when you kind of like, it's like psychologically psyching yourself out. Like, oh, I have an appointment with somebody, even if it's you. Oh, no, got to do it. Got to show up. It's like, and you notice how much, because they tell you that, especially when launching a practice, and even as you get things moving, while multitasking works in our personal lives, Like I can throw in a load of laundry, start the dishwasher and clean the house and have it all going at the same time. And that's productive. Professionally, for your business, multitasking actually works against you. So you need to schedule that time and dedicate 100% of that time and 100% of your efforts into whatever that project is to make sure that you are moving forward at a consistent rate to know that, okay, I know when it's going to be complete. You have deadlines that you set for yourself. And once it's complete, you put that out into the world, you move on to the next part of the project or whatever's on your to-do list. But if you try to do too much at the same time, will you eventually complete it? Sure. Will you have the best version of what could have been? Probably not, because you've got little bits of yourself sprinkled everywhere and it's just not effective.
Yeah. Or sustainable. I love it. And that word investment is so powerful because you know what you're going to put in, you can get something out of that. You'll reap what you sow in that way.
You're investing in yourself. Like that's what it comes to is, we always talk about creating these vision boards and, dream big and what do you want and quality of life. And it's like, all right, well, you got that. That's fantastic. And yet to do this work, you need to invest in yourself, be productive with your time. And then the next part of this, the challenge is realizing that you have to keep doing it, right? It's not just, it's not just I've created the plan and I've launched it, I've put it out there, we're done. It is, oh my goodness, I have to show up every day and I have to consistently keep making the same decisions and keep patterns kind of flowing with the business and the practice and everything that I've got to do. And it's being consistent so that we can kind of condition our thought process and we condition our behaviors so that much like, when you get into a good exercise routine, it's difficult in the beginning. It's a struggle to start. And yet once you get going and you get into your rhythm and you get into your routine, you do it so many times to where you've conditioned this behavior to where you almost feel guilty when you don't do it after a certain amount of time because it's become a part of who you are. It's the same with your business. You have to consistently act and behave in a certain way that promotes your success, that promotes actions towards your goals. And eventually that conditioning becomes a part of who you are. It becomes part of your routine. And you almost feel guilty if you don't dedicate time to growing your business or to working on some new project that you may have. So it's a mindset. It really is. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that it's going like everything. It's going to take time. And you've got to really sit back and say, okay, if you procrastinate or if you constantly find excuses because something else is going on in your house or going on around you and you're constantly distracted, it begs the question, is this actually your goal? Is this business actually something that you want? What is the cost if you do not focus on what you need to do for this business right now? Short term, long term, what do you stand to gain? You stand to lose if you waste your time and procrastinate on things that don't serve any purpose.
That's huge. Yes. And I know these are the real conversations, what James is talking about, that we have in admissions when you're looking at becoming an entrepreneur, about your goal, about your desire, about what you're going to do with this education. And then on the back end, as James knows, as the Success Center, then you are interviewed for an exit interview to go, okay, like it's time. Now what? You revisit your why, right, James?
Yeah. And what I teach them in class, because regardless of what you choose, you still need a plan. And what we discover in our programs is that when they get to the business classes, their awareness becomes one of two things. That when you go through admissions, you start your program. Yes, everybody's got, I want to help people. I want to heal people. I want to support people. I want a wellness center. I want retreats. I want, like, the big vision is there. But the reality of what it takes to actually make that happen doesn't become a true reality until they get to these courses. And what they discover about themselves is either they are the true entrepreneur, solopreneur, they are the individual that realizes, you know what, I've got amazing tools in my tool belt that I want to be able to use in the world. And I'm also passionate about the marketing and the legal paperwork and the taxes. And basically, not only do you want to drive the machine and own the machine, you want to know what makes the machine work, and you love all of it. On the flip side, you also have individuals that are passionate, and yet their desire may be to collaborate or partner with other practitioners because they have an appreciation for the machine, but they just want to kind of hop in for a ride every now and again. They want to jump in, get to the destination, do their thing, and then get out. Like, they don't want to be responsible for all of it. And it doesn't matter what awareness they have. It doesn't change the plan. It doesn't change the need for your time investment, your consistency, your conditioning, because you still have to show up in a certain way in order to be successful. And whether that's you running the whole show or that's you partnering with other individuals and just being part of the show, it's still the same process. So it doesn't change. And I think that's a great piece of awareness for prospective students, current students, and graduates, is that it's not easy. Nobody gets off easy. Regardless of what you choose, the work still be done. And you still need to make a choice every single day to integrate with your purposeful path, because nobody else is going to do the work for you.
Yeah, that is so huge. Thank you for saying that. Because even as like a holistic practitioner coach myself, with my marketing background, it can still be challenging. I don't like math, so the taxes, I need to know. So when you're saying the self-awareness piece and what I like as a business owner and what I don't, I like knowing that I need to delegate this, and this because I just simply don't like them. But I know that I can't succeed and reach my personal goals if I don't do that properly, right?
Yeah, because
but I can nerd out on marketing and content all day.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have that in their background. So it's something that you need to know on the front end. Can I outsource this when I'm ready? Or can I partner with someone, just like you said, James, right?
Well, and even then, it may not be things you particularly like, and you may have resources to collaborate or partner with. And even then, you're still responsible for making sure you know what's going on with those pieces at all times, just so that you're not taken advantage of, or that somebody is not marketing or promoting in a way that is not in alignment with your values and what you're offering. So you're still a part of everything. And that's kind of a mistruth that people can kind of lean into, is like, once I have resources, oh, I got my accountant, I got my lawyer, I got my marketing person, they're just going to take care of it for me, and I'm going to go over here and do my thing. Like, no, got to have a pulse of every single piece, whether it's resourced or not, to know that you're still, everything is in alignment with your purpose.
Exactly. Do you advise people in the business portion to put that into their business plan once they start out? Things like that, like who they have for what sort of part of their business?
Yeah.
Or have an idea?
In a traditional business plan, you'll often see like a competitive profile. And, by rights, everybody that's in class together would be considered competition for one another. And yet we know that in order to create something really powerful and effective, it's really about collaborations and partnerships and coming together as a conscious community. So I've since kind of replaced that portion of the plan with, instead of a competitive profile, a collaborative profile, so that they can basically do some research and find out, from a professional practitioner perspective, from a legal perspective, from, just other resources in other industries, like who are the other individuals, who are the other businesses, who are the other people that they would consider as a part of their team for when they need the support in any given area, at any given time, that they've got a connection to what they need the most and who they need the most. So I think that's been quite effective because, it's not trying to be, jack of all trades. It's acknowledging where your strengths are and knowing what you love to do and saying, okay, while I have awareness and knowledge on some other topics, tools, and modalities, I would rather resource out or refer clients to somebody else for that particular part, because then it's a win-win situation, because their work is going to be better with me when they can get this other piece from somebody else. It's not trying to be the answer and the solution to everything, because even then, when we talked about time investment, the book that we used in class is called The Peace Process. And it's basically telling us you cannot be all things to all people and expect successful, productive, efficient. That's just not how it works. So you have to know what your strengths are, where you're focusing your time, and where you can delegate other tasks out to other people and resources so that you can not only create more opportunities for yourself, but for others as well.
I love that, even as a coaching question, just right there, what you just said. So everyone watching this, has there ever been a time in your life, or even now, where you can say, I have tried to be the jack of all trades. I have tried to be the healer, the business owner, the marketing guru. I've tried to be all the things, and you run into roadblocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
James, were you ever at that point where you were like, oh my gosh, I am literally trying to do all the things and be all the things, all the people? Did you ever have that moment?
There was a time, and it was more, I said yes to everything and kind of exhausted resources. So it's not to say that I still don't say yes to a lot, because I do. And the difference is that I became more mindful that as more demand showed up for my work and the other projects that I have in process and work and my own life and social life, it was about establishing very clear boundaries of, I can say yes to a lot, and yet I still limit what that looks like, only because I need to leave time for myself personally and for the projects that are being worked on and for the people that I'm serving and the workshops that I'm teaching and all these other pieces. And yet it's been nice because those boundaries have allowed me to say, okay, yes to this now, maybe to this later, and absolutely not because I don't have the time and I'm not going to sacrifice myself in the process.
At what point on your path in the healing arts did you come to the realization that you were saying yes to everything and that it wasn't working for you?
Let's see, that was probably about 3 years in. Yeah, 3 years into launch, because it was, you're new. So you're building your brand, you're creating relationships, you're building your reputation. Like, there's a lot of pieces at play. And even then, I had a plan, and we don't know what parts of the plan make sense until we're actually out doing the work. So you get out there, start realizing, okay, what do I really have time for? What are my actual strengths? With the services that I'm offering, what are the ones that people are asking for the most? And then it's the willingness to be vulnerable and to go back and say, okay, I can do this. I can't do this. I need to tweak this part of the plan. I don't have time for this. I do have time for this. And it's just constantly revisiting and restructuring yourself, because it's, the plan coming to life. That's what it is. It looks paper, and the reality of what that is doesn't happen until you're actually out there. And then once you find your rhythm, like I said, 3 years in was that awareness. And then it became more of a different focus. It became more of, I want more time for me. It became more of, I'd rather do workshops and classes instead of one-on-one sessions all the time. It became more kind of redirecting my energy. Didn't change my passion, didn't change my purpose, but it was redirecting my energy and my time into the things that I have now learned bring the most joy and fulfillment to what I'm doing.
Amazing. Yeah. And all of this, I mean, what James is talking about, you guys, and can anyone relate? Just raise your hand or like it, or just call yourself out with compassion. Because I'd say when I started coaching, in 2011, I'd say, James, in all vulnerability, it probably took me up until fully, up until maybe 2 years ago. That was how in control, right? My inner child thought I needed to be with everything. Hard time delegating, needed to wear all the hats, right? I'm a healer. I need to be able to do all the modalities. And it's really focus on what you're really passionate about. You don't have to be all the things to all the people. And that was really hard for me as a people pleaser to not want to be. But then once I did start hosting retreats and workshops, sharing that space, calling on the right people to say, wow, like, this is your lane, I need you. It was more impactful because that was their focus and their passion. Spreading ourselves too thin, myself, was not doing myself justice. It was totally counterintuitive, to what you're saying. So everything that you've said right now, James, I hope that those listening or those who will rewatch this will just take an honest look at self, right? However that is for you, whatever your practice is, and really do a self-awareness assessment for look at where your time's invested, right? In life coaching, in the intro class, we have a more or less tool, right? We can start there. Is there anything else that comes to mind, James, that you're like, ooh, this is a good one for?
I like the more, I think the Wheel of Wellness was always a great, because it allowed people to kind of view kind of a bird's eye view of like 8 different lifestyle categories, and to be able to say, okay, I'm going to measure out all of these categories as far as where I'm at, and then choose, much like we're talking about with business, you choose one area of focus out of that entire wheel. Doesn't mean the rest of it is okay. It just means I've chosen a focus for right now until I've reached completion. And then I can come back to that vision. I can come back to that wheel when I'm ready and choose the next area I want to focus on. Because inevitably, once you choose one area, it's connected to some of the other ones, whether we know it or not. And it's the same with our businesses. It's you choose that area of focus, you choose your path, you choose your direction, focus all of your effort into it until you've completed that task or that project. And then once that's done, that's launched, that's out there, great. Move on to the next project or the next task. And you notice how much more efficient you can be and how much smoother things flow, and how much you have left at the end of the day because you didn't exhaust yourself trying to do everything.
Amen. Well, thank you for your time, for your energy, for your knowledge, for your experience. For those of you who are looking to become a holistic entrepreneur, or those who are in class, or those who graduated, it's coaches like James, Jasper, myself, Will, Sarah, Alsenia. You have a crew of coaches who literally do this as part of their joy, not their job, but they are here for you to lean on for exactly this: business development, guidance, accountability, vulnerability. It's all connected. So, James, thank you for all that you do. I've been meaning to check out your podcast. So, are you loving that, by the way? Is that new and different, or?
Trying something new.
I love it. See, and even you as a practitioner, you're like, hey, haven't done this yet still. I'm going to try it out, right?
It works.
So thank you. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, everyone who's watching this, drop a comment, leave a line, maybe put something out there that's going to help you hold yourself accountable with compassion. And James, any last parting words for this moment in time?
No, I always tell people at the end of the day, it's giving yourself permission and grace to be able to believe that you are capable of more than we often give ourselves credit for. And yet, even then, we have to have a plan. We have to know what we want and be willing to try, be willing to put in the work and to make the effort. And you will notice very quickly that when you show up and you do the work, how much of your plan comes to life and how realistic those goals are. So it's all about action and accountability for sure.
Awesome. Which all starts with self-awareness. All right, brother. Well, thank you. I appreciate you and everyone out there. We'll see you next week. Thanks,
Perfect.
James.
Thank you. We'll talk to you
All
soon.
right. Bye.